name is Carrie, and I am the blogger behind Bakeaholic Mama. This is my 4-year-old son, Chase. He's my middle child. He's going to be helping us make a traditional 100% all butter pie crust. For my pie crust, I tend to prefer the flavor of all butter. I know it can be tricky to get a flaky, tender crust when you're working with just butter and you're not using any type of shortening or lard. But it tastes so much better, so I think it's really worth it. What I like to do is I measure out my flour. I use King Arthur flour, unbleached, all-purpose. I also measured out my sugar and my salt, and we are going to use a cup of butter. I prefer Cabot. You can use any brand that you like, but always go with unsalted butter. So first, I like to cut my butter up into small pieces, about this big. This is a half a cup, and I will cut up, not yet honey, he's very anxious to do the dumping of the buttermilk. Okay, the key is to keep your butter very, very cold. And you've got to work rather quickly, which is kind of hard today while making this video.
Well, I will make them tiny.
You want me to cut the butter up tiny?
I want to cut up the butter tiny. I will use a butter knife.
Okay, today, how about we do that later? But right now...
A butter knife or for butter?
I know, that's true. It's for spreading butter, but for something like this, because the butter's been in the freezer, it's really hard to cut, so I need to use a sharp knife. So Mommy's going to do this part, okay?
Now I'm also going to mix, right? And dump them out.
Yes, in a second.
When you're done doing all this.
Okay, so we've cut up all of our butter pieces. They're all pretty small. You need to break them apart a little bit, but to give you an idea, this is how big you want them. I like to carefully give that butter a quick toss in the flour, coat them all, and then slowly start to work it, or quickly work it rather, with your fingers. Squeeze each piece, each little butter cube, into a thin little disc about this thin. Now, when your pie crust bakes, that butter is going to melt in between all the layers of flour, and that's what creates all the flakiness. So it's really important that you don't overwork the butter, otherwise you'll end up with a crunchier crust that isn't necessarily as flaky and tender as you want it to be. Now, not everybody likes to do it by hand. I prefer to do it by hand. I really like, it's relaxing to me.
I was going to mix.
But other people, Chase can do this, they like a pastry cutter. Now, basically it's got some, dough blades on it, and you can easily work that butter into small pieces into your flour. You want to give it a try? Good job. Want to do some?
Oh, when I smush them, the butter comes out.
Yes. That's good.
You know, that's not good at smushing.
I'm not that good at it?
Because when you smush, the butter doesn't come out.
Now I'm going to put the pastry cutter back, just for purposes of showing you guys on how to use it. And I'm going to squeeze my butter into the flour rather quickly so it doesn't start to melt and soften too much.
Then I'm going to dump the milk.
Yes.
So
now, in a second, we're going to, hi Sydney, this is the dog Sid. Sydney, down. You want to go let Sydney out for me?
No.
Real quick, just so I can keep
Then we
making.
have to start over again.
No, we won't start over this
Well,
time.
see, when I was
Oh, she's going away. So generally, most recipes call for water. I took a pie making class up at King Arthur Flour in Norwich, Vermont, last fall. Actually, it's been exactly a year, with Joy the Baker. Now, for those of you who don't know who Joy the Baker is, she is a blogger and recipe developer who is super, super awesome. The girl knows her stuff. And she, in her crust, uses buttermilk. And I don't know why it never dawned on me. Buttermilk has so much flavor. It is definitely my favorite way of adding liquid into my pie crust now. So you won't see me using water in my crust anymore. All right. I think this is just...
Milky, I don't know.
Hold on, I just want to make sure all the butter is incorporated the way I want it. Okay. All right. Now, I've worked in, no, not yet. I worked in all of my butter, most of it, into the sizes that I want. Really looking for a lot of these little butter discs in there. And just quickly go through it, make sure you didn't miss any pieces. Then I create a small well in the inside of my bowl. Make a little pocket for the buttermilk. Chase, you want to go ahead and dump the buttermilk in? We're starting with a 1/4 cup. If you find that your pie crust or your pie dough is too dry, you can go ahead and add in some more buttermilk. I think I already said this, but make sure the buttermilk is also very cold.
It looks dry.
It does look a little dry. Good eyes. We are going to actually add a tiny bit more. I like to use Kate's. Kate's is my favorite brand for buttermilk. It's semi-local to us. Okay, Chase, I want you only pour half of that. Kate's is out of Maine, so here we go. Right, stop. Good job. He added about a tablespoon more.
It kind of looks...
Is it still too dry?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's try a little bit more.
You have to
All right, that time is about 2 tablespoons.
You have
And
to
I
do
think
2
we're almost there.
cups of bottom.
Go ahead and add the rest.
Like this.
Yep, there we go. So we probably used about half a cup, a little shy of a half a cup of buttermilk. And it's starting to come together. It's pretty shaggy looking still, but the few needs, it's going to come together really well. You don't want it to be too sticky. It's going to be a nightmare when you try to roll it out. And then we'll end up when it bakes, it's just going to make it into a soggy crust. So try not to add too much. Now, what I like to do, I'm going to wipe my hands off a little bit. I've got butter everywhere. You divide the dough into 2 portions.
Hey, but how am I doing it?
Do you want to give it a few kneads? Go ahead. You can go ahead. Whoops! I got you right in the face. Okay, good job.
I need that
You
cup.
need the rag? Yes,
Yeah.
look at my hands. Ew. Okay, so we're going to divide the doughs in half and make them into 2 discs.
1 disc,
1 disc,
and then
fold, wrap it.
so it'll be crust.
Still got the stuff all over my
So
fingers.
we're going to make 2 pies.
This could make 2 pies, or it could make 1 pie. So like an apple pie, it uses 2. So, because it has one on the bottom and it has one on the top. So this could make 1 apple pie, or it could make maybe like 2 chocolate cream pies, which is what we're making today. We're going to make some pudding, and we're going to fill it with some pudding and some whipped cream. What do you think? Do you like pudding?
Yep.
Me too. It's my
But I
favorite.
think it was normal.
Normal pudding? What's a normal pudding?
It's when it's already, it's not in the dough.
When it's not in the, oh, you just want plain pudding. You don't want it pie?
No.
Okay, so we made a little bit of a mess. Pie crust. So you're going to want to refrigerate this for at least a half hour. I sometimes make it in a double or a triple batch. Throw these babies in a freezer bag, throw it in your freezer, and they can last a long time. That way, it's quick, it's ready, unthaw, roll it out, and make a pie whenever you feel the need to. So I'm going to place these in the refrigerator, and then when you're ready to use them, on a lightly floured surface, you're going to roll them out into a circle if you can. I always tend to make mine into squares. Whenever I want to roll a circle, they come out as squares. If I need to roll a square, they come out circular. And then place it into a 9 to a 10-inch pie plate. And bake as directed,